Hey there, this is a little bit of a, little bit of a deviation from the normal tech stuff I talk about to basically sort of talk about something else. But it sort of ties in with tech too. Today is probably about the year anniversary. I think officially I started on April 1st, but this is the year anniversary of me being on Mounjaro. This time last year I decided I needed to do something and hopped onto the Mounjaro train. I know, like nowadays, there's a lot of people on it, but I just thought adding to the little bit of the zeitgeist about it, adding to the kind of one opinion on it. I'm not a doctor. Don't play one on television. Don't play one on the internet. Talk about your own health between you and your healthcare professional. My experience. I started about 22 stone. Don't know what that is in anybody else's money. That was a weight I did on April 1st, last year, 2025. I am now 13 stone and 3/4, roughly. And I'd come down to about 14 and a half by sort of end of November last year. And ever since then, I've sort of been walking more. I had some trips planned away and stuff like that. So I didn't sort of losing weight took a back burner at that point. And I've lost about a stone since. I'm still on Mounjaro. So basically what happened to me, I started on 2.5 and then every month I boosted up what I could. I got up to about 12.5, I think was the highest I could take without the side effects becoming too overwhelming. Talk about those in a second. And now I'm down to about 5 as a maintenance dose for a bit, and I'm to taper off over the coming few months. So yeah, I started at 22 stone, down to about 13 and 3/4, which I'm happy with. Side effects during Mounjaro, yes, the gastric side effects, I got those from pretty much day one. Everything you could think gastric from day one. Lethargy was another one, sort of ups and downs, emotional moods, definitely with that. But the biggest side effect was weight loss. I lost roughly about a stone a month until, I'd hit that point at sort of the end of November. I think that does kind of work out quite nicely. So April, I'd lost to come down to 21. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. So January, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, and November. Yeah, so it was roughly about a stone a month. I don't feel like I'm any weaker after doing that. I've got one of those scales, the Whiting scales that measures body composition, and I feel like I've kind of worked well with that. I walk a lot, I swing kettlebells occasionally, and I don't feel like I've kind of had any kind of, huge downsides to it. I've not been, apart from the side effects that have sort of essentially for me been easily manageable with Imodium, Pepto-Bismol, Buscopan. Yeah. Is it worth it? Yeah. Does it work for everybody? Science suggests it works for about 85% of people. I feel like I'm quite lucky in that it's worked for me so well and so fast. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely say it's an option. There's a lot of weird horror stories about it, but there's weird horror stories about everything. And I kind of wonder whether the multi-billion-dollar diet industry and the multi-billion-dollar sort of fitness industry isn't behind some of this stuff. In terms of my usage of it, it has been great. I'm not going to go life-changing because I think that kind of sounds like angels are going to come down and bestow something upon you. No, I think it's more just pushing things like heart disease and diabetes off into the future a bit, and being able to enjoy life a little bit easier in the interim. So yeah, it's been a great journey, and my purpose of doing this is little more than just to say, A, I'm somebody that it's worked for. B, I did have side effects, but nothing that equal the weight I was carrying. And C, I've sort of been tapering off of it now, and I feel like I did make life changes in terms of how I eat and what I eat. But I think I'd had other issues with illnesses, things like Lyme disease and stuff like that as well, which had kind of contributed to kind of my weight gain over the last few years. But life is life. But this drug's out there, it's worked for me. I'm very pleased with what I've done. I've been using, I had an app on the phone, Happy Scale it's called, and that was great for just logging all my weights. And I would use a Y Things scale for jumping on in the morning, and I weigh myself once a week. Don't get too paranoid about it. Weigh myself once a week, maybe even once a month for people who just don't really want to do that, because you do definitely see changes once a month. And yeah, it's worked great. This is mostly just like celebrating almost a year, and I did think about doing this on April 1st, but like I'd probably forget by then. I think today just feels like that point where I feel like it's been a year and it's worked really well. Not here to convince anybody to do it, not here to kind of add to anything other than just my own experience that it does work. It's quite a journey. The lethargy was probably the hardest thing, which is weird because gastrointestinal stuff is pretty hard to deal with, but that's sort of manageable with medication. But the lethargy could be pretty hard at times. But I don't know, you push through and get stuff done. But yeah, it's been a good one. GLP-1s are definitely a drug for kind of the sort of the ease of access to food and high calorie food crisis that we seem to have. I loved myself before losing weight, and I loved myself after losing weight, so that was not the reason why I did it. I think I'm a firm believer in the fact that you can sort of most people who are genetically fortunate and sort of fortunate to avoid any illnesses and accidents, you can sort of glide into most of us are lucky enough to be able to glide into our 40s carefree about health. And I think once you sort of start to, like I've done, I'm deep into my 50s now, things have to change at that point. And you know what, if I got a headache, I'll take paracetamol. If I've got joint pain, I'll take ibuprofen. I need to lose weight, so I took Mounjaro, which was my drug of choice, and it worked. I've got no shame about the weight I had. I've got no shame about using Mounjaro to lose weight, and I think nobody else should. So part of this is just normalizing the process, normalizing loving yourself while you're overweight, and loving yourself while you've lost weight, while you're losing weight, and loving yourself after you've lost weight. So if you are struggling out there, know that other people have been struggling too, and it's not easy. And I wish you all the best, and have a great day. Talk to you again soon. Bye.